you for that great introduction, Kelsey. What an incredible year this has been. Who could have predicted that a pandemic would have sent people into the outdoors in record numbers? So I ask, are you ready to take advantage of the opportunity in front of us and keep all of these newfound boaters and anglers? Today, I'm going to discuss three topics. First, the unbelievable surge we have experienced with more than 3.1 million fishing licenses sold nationally compared to 2019. Then I will speak about data dashboards and the role they can play in efforts to market to your new customers. And finally, I will discuss online license purchasing and areas you can focus to enhance your customer journey. We should all strive to be Amazon good, and that begins with a customer-centric focus. So let's get started. As you're all aware, nationally, people are heading to the outdoors in record numbers as a way to recreate safely. This past year, on 3 occasions, I reached out to state partners asking for license sales information, once in May, again in September, and finally in January to get a sense of license sales for 2020 versus 2019. I want to thank all of our state partners for their cooperation on this assessment. Responses were incredible, as with each assessment, I received information from more than 45 states. Based on this information, states experienced a net increase of more than 3.1 million licenses sold in 2020 versus 2019. All but one state experienced an increase in resident license sales, and even that state recovered much of their sales as the year progressed. Non-resident sales, as you can imagine, was a mixed bag, depending upon whether the state was locked down or perhaps depended heavily upon air travel for their customers, such as Alaska, a state that was hit extremely hard in their non-resident license sales. However, 32 states experienced growth in non-resident license sales with an average increase of 9% and a net gain of 300,000 non-resident licenses sold. Some states, such as Kansas, Nebraska, and Oklahoma, experienced more than 30% growth in non-resident sales. These license sales and gains represent a huge opportunity for state agencies. So the big question is, what are you going to make sure you are ready to keep these people fishing and boating this year? Are you ready? Are you analyzing your customer database and developing strategies to implement programs that will keep these people in the outdoors? RBFF research indicates that even when we go back to semi-normal, these new participants plan to continue participating in fishing. If you'd like to see that webinar, you can find those findings at our website, takemefishing.org. We have just been handed the opportunity of a lifetime, and we at RBFF are here to help you develop and implement R3 strategies, whether with an R3 plan, marketing support, or a new toolkit for our partners. We want to help you engage with constituents. Now is the time to take action. You need to identify and analyze your database. Who are these new anglers? Who are the retained anglers? Who's been reactivated? Develop a customer engagement strategy and across the variety of channels. Embrace those new first-time anglers. They need extra attention and they desire more how-to content, and they're very, very avid consumers of videos. Consider that as you're developing your strategies. I can't stress enough the importance of analyzing your database to understand where your increases in participation occurred. During my license assessment, 12 states provided detailed information on new, reactivated, and retained license buyers. In many of those states, it was a balance of about 20% new, 20% reactivated, and 60% retained. That is fantastic information to have, as those states now know they need to develop strategies and messages that address each of those 3 elements of their customer database. We know that newcomers will need the extra attention as they have a higher dropout rate. That doesn't mean you have no recourse. They just need a little bit more TLC. They want more information. They want guidance on how and what equipment they need. They're avid consumers of the how-to video content. And it's important to send them reminders of how much fun it was spending quality time fishing and boating with family and friends. The analysis of your database should guide the development of your outreach strategy. For example, RBFF has used the recent research, and we examined motivations for new anglers and established the foundation for this year's RBFF's digital strategy, which will connect with active social families through inspirational and education content to motivate them to continue enjoying the outdoors with families. Themes include health and wellness, the benefit of being outdoors, and how to master the basics of fishing. This represents but one communication strategy within a comprehensive media strategy that RBFF will employ throughout the coming year. We know the newcomers will need extra attention. They have a much higher dropout rate than your other fishing license buyers. They desire how-to information as well as support on best equipment for beginners. At RBFF, we experienced a tremendous surge in consumption of our how-to videos. We are placing a significant effort on building this video component of our website. So have our state partners. Recently, New Jersey Fish and Wildlife offered a virtual webinar, Ice Fishing 101. They had more than 400 people register for that how-to webinar. Another example is Vermont. Every year they host a very popular ice fishing festival. This year they couldn't host the event, so they went virtual. And there are plenty of examples of other states providing this information and its very population communication channel across all and amongst all new anglers. However, while focusing strategies on the newbies, don't forget strategies to retain your avid and casual customers, as well as implement strategies to reactivate those who may have lapsed out. Your license database contains everything you need to develop a retention strategy. From our research, we know that health and well-being are important messages. Keep in mind the type of messaging that will resonate during these difficult times. As we learned from our Ipsos research, there are several actions you can focus on right now, such as reminding newcomers of how much fun they had last year, highlight access close to home, emphasize the social aspects of fishing and boating to help them identify cost-effective beginner fishing equipment. With our toolkits and your information, I know you can develop a solid approach to retention this year. And if you don't have a robust email list, that shouldn't stop you. Develop a direct mail campaign to those that are most likely to lapse out and use messaging that will resonate with this group of anglers to reduce that churn rate. Which brings me to data dashboards. Data dashboards are a critical tool that they provide important information about your customers. Hopefully your state has a dashboard. If not, I encourage you to work with your leadership to develop this data set. The team at Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife piloted the first data dashboard, and together with the Western Association of Fish and Wildlife Agencies, recognized the importance of developing a system that can rapidly identify participation trends and change in customer purchase habits. When I was a state fish and wildlife director, if we had had this type of information, it would have been invaluable. For example, one year we changed our deer permit regulations, which impacted our license buyers' purchasing habits. That change resulted in a loss of $2 million in revenue as the customers no longer were buying multiple permits. With no data dashboard in place, it took us almost a year to identify the problem. Had we had that dashboard back then, we would have known almost immediately the change in purchasing habits and could have taken action to rectify the situation. Data dashboards provide a wealth of data right at your fingertips, which can be used to drive R3 programs. It is very interactive and provides pertinent information about your customers. And these dashboards enjoy tremendous support from industry and nonprofits who recognize the need for this data. Every one of these partners identified in this graphic believes so strongly in the information these dashboards provide that they have contributed funding to help states develop dashboards. This is how the data dashboard appears on a screen. It shows the interactive nature of dashboards. Nebraska used their dashboard to gain tremendous insight about the surge in fishing license sales they experienced during the pandemic. They were able to look at numbers of licenses sold, who the new customers were, percent new versus retained versus reactivated. They're able to see the length of lapse, demographics such as were they from urban or rural areas, gender, age, structure, diversity, and a host of other information. This information will be crucial to guiding Nebraska's efforts this year. They are able to even detect a spike in license purchases right after the first stimulus checks went out. Using this information, as well as conducting surveys of these new participants, Nebraska is well positioned to develop a strategy and campaign this year to keep these gains. So as you can see, dashboards are an incredible tool to help states understand their customers, changes in purchasing habits, their wants and needs. This information presents states with an invaluable opportunity to market to these individuals. But there are states that we still need to recruit into the dashboard program. Currently, there are 21 states participating, others slated to join. If you are not one of those states, please contact Southwick Associates to consider developing a dashboard in your state. If you want to learn more about dashboards or just want to try to get your state involved, Southwick Associates will be on this call at the end to answer any questions you might have. The final topic I'd like to speak to is that of customer engagement and the online customer experience. It is essential to make your online system as user-friendly as possible. If I can't get access quickly, I'm going to move on to something else. We should all ask, what are we doing to help expedite the user experience? Amazon's success starts with a core commitment to the customer, and so should ours. If states succeed here, not only will you enhance license sales, but agency relevancy as well. However, this is not just one staff member's responsibility. Just like R3, the entire agency needs to understand, recognize, and strive to not only meet the needs of your customer, but anticipate their needs. We live in a fast-paced society that has a lack of patience. Did you know that 72% of customers expect a response to a complaint in under an hour? Keep that in mind the next time you wait a day or two to respond to a customer. State agencies not using dashboards should employ this tool, not only to help boost internal understanding and buy-in for the agency's strategic initiatives, but to collectively track trends across all states. This allows for smarter, more effective, and ultimately increased investments in future recruitment, retention, and reactivation efforts. Now, I recognize that this is not a fishing example, but it is a great example of customer engagement. The Nevada Department of Wildlife recognized the importance of customer engagement with cougar permit sales. Even though they experienced an increase in big game applications and hunting licenses in 2018 and 2019, there was a corresponding drop in mountain lion sales. The Nevada team, along with their licensed vendor Calcami, reviewed the process. The reduction in those tag sales was actually the result of product placement within the big game application process. Nevada became proactive and made mountain lion tag purchase a part of the deer tag application process, with having to choose yes or no prior to proceeding. If you think about this like a grocery store, the mountain lion tag was in the small corner of the store that you only go into if you're going to purchase something specific. Nevada put the purchase of mountain lion tag at the checkout counter, along with the magazines and candy bars. The end result nearly doubled the number of tags issued. More than half your customers now use mobile devices to make e-commerce purchases. Amazon certainly has become the industry standard, streamlined and easy to navigate. We should always be looking at efficiency and opportunities to enhance that customer experience. Just as Nevada made it easier for their customers to find that lion tag, agency mobile sites should always be developed with the customer in mind. We need to be thinking of how we can make transactions more user-friendly. The license purchasing process needs to be simple and intuitive. Reducing barriers is critical for customers who are looking for a quick route to purchase. Time to purchase is a key factor with electronic customers. In 2019, RBFF tracked the number of steps it required a first-time customer to complete the process of purchasing a fishing license. Only 11 states offered this service in 5 steps or less. 17 states required 10 plus steps to get a license. These are things that we can improve upon. 13 states offered auto renew option. What a great opportunity that provides to reduce the churn rate and simplify the customer journey, something we should all strive for, and that is making the purchasing experience one of convenience. We know that top internet providers are able to fulfill a customer's needs in just 1 or 2 clicks. Everyone recognizes that selling a license is a bit different, but we all need to look at opportunities to streamline and improve the license buying process. States that are not collecting emails or cell phone numbers need to develop strategies to build this database. Emails and text messaging are both effective tools at implementing R3 efforts. Speaking of making the purchasing experience one of convenience, the other day while I was sitting at the computer, I noticed that the Alexa was flashing with a message. When I asked what the message was, Alexa replied, I see that 3 weeks ago you purchased a pack of 12 protein chips. Would you like me to place another order before you run out? And if you say yes, they are on their way, and you never touched your computer, you never provided credit card information. Now, why can't we do something like that? Can you envision a time, sometime down the road, when you book a flight to attend a conference, say in Minnesota, and Alexa says, I notice you enjoy fishing. Would you like to buy your Minnesota fishing license for your upcoming trip? Now that is anticipating the customer needs and something all states should aspire to. I know state fish and wildlife agencies have made tremendous strides with marketing, R3, and customer engagement. However, we need to and can do better. We need to focus on customer engagement in ways we never had a few short years ago. We need to commit to developing a customer relationship management system, also referred to as CRM. States must be willing to dedicate energy and resources to this component of management, just as they would with any fish and wildlife species they are charged with managing. The alternative is a continued loss of customers and diminished agency relevancy. The ultimate goal should be to establish a CRM system that integrates and automates all customer sales, marketing, and customer support. A system that has a dashboard which places constituent information and analytics at your fingertips. We need to think about our customers just as much as Amazon. Consider developing a customer survey. Just like we conduct big game satisfaction surveys all the time, we need to focus on the customer journey. What causes them pain? What obstructs them at checkout? What might they need that they don't even know they need? How can you make it easy for them to improve your understanding of the process? Find unique ways to answer these questions, and you'll start to be like Amazon and create customer relationships that last a lifetime. I close with this final thought. In the world of customer service, how do you want your agency to be viewed? State fish and wildlife agencies must focus on customer engagement and service with the same devotion they deliver fish and wildlife management. Thank you, and I look forward to our continued discussion on this topic.
Thanks so much, Dave. Fantastic presentation. I think Rob from Southwick joins us as well. Dave, did you want to pull Rob in?
I do see him up there. Can he get his?
Yep, he was up a second ago.
Yeah, I'm here on vocal.
There he is.
All right, hey.
Go ahead, Dave. Dave, did you have a question for Rob?
I thought you had a good one for you, Rob. There's been a lot of chat on the chat site that I was watching about data dashboards. How do I get involved? What can we do? So why don't you take a moment and tell the state partners that aren't engaged how they get engaged?
Sure. I could have put more in the chat room there, but my fingers just aren't that fast. But appreciate it. Yeah, the dashboards, as David mentioned, this is an initiative that began with the state fish and wildlife agencies. There's been grants in place to help pilot this the last several years, which means it's free to the states to get involved here. We have about 20 states. The next dashboard covering all of 2020 should be out around mid-March at the North American Conference. So then contact Lisa Parks. Her email is lisa@southwickassociates.com. Again, that's lisa@southwickassociates.com. She can provide information. I believe she'll be posting here, or we'll send out to everybody a map of the states that are in. Some states have committed to it, but are going through the legal processes. We have ways to help states get past the legal hurdles, ways they can provide data with the individual information stripped out. Thanks for posting her info. I appreciate that. But we have common hurdles that prevent states from getting involved. We're developing solutions for those. So please, there's no cost, but we need this information at the national level to know the direction. We don't have good national survey data anymore. If we need more resources for R3 in the future, we have to state our case, state where the need exists, how the money is going to be spent, and we need the dashboards to help make those arguments. So please contact us. We need all states to participate.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob. I know when I was a director, if I had had data dashboards at my fingertips, I'd have really been able to see where my customer base was going. I think the ultimate goal is we need all 50 states, and we need all 50 states sharing this information, because our anglers aren't staying in one place. They're going all over. We saw a surge in non-resident licenses in the lower 48 states this year, more than 300,000 additional licenses sold. So dashboards are our first step to a CRM system. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Rob.
Jay, if I could weigh in here a second on this too.
Please, Frank.
You know, this is one of the few industries that probably in today's day and age doesn't know what it sold in the last hour, okay? Or the last day, or the last week, or the last month. I was asked a question last week when we would see 2020 license data, and I wrote back to the person who wrote to me, it's going to take a while, because right now the data we get is 2 years old by the time it comes out. But you can't make decisions. So I really implore everyone to get on board with the program. And if nothing else, for Rob, it's obvious from looking at his picture, times are tough. So at least if we can get on board with the dashboards, he might be able to buy a razor to shave that. But no, truly, we really need real-time data as close as we can get it. We could make better decisions on where we put our marketing dollars, so could states. So I think it's extremely important.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Frank. Dave, one more question for you before I let you go. Lots of conversation in the chat about auto renewal, and the states that have AR are pumped. They love it. Those that don't are covetous of the ability to have auto renewal. From your perspective, and Rob, feel free to jump in if you'd like, what's the best way to move down the road towards adopting auto renewal in a state that doesn't have it?
Sure. Well, every state agency, you know, most of their systems are run under a contract. Those contracts will come up for reauthorization maybe every 3 to 5 years. And they really need to write into that contract that auto renewal is a part of any successful bid that a company is going to get to manage their license system for them. And we all see how it helps. You know, as Frank mentioned, I think in an earlier presentation, nearly 60% of first-time anglers drop out the second year. If you've got them on auto renewal, you're not going to lose those anglers. You're going to keep them.
Absolutely. Well said. All right, there you go. You need legal advice, contract advice, talk to Dave. He got you covered. Dave, thanks so much. Rob, thanks to you as well. Friends, mash that reaction button down there. Let them know what you thought of this presentation. I enjoyed it.